Hello students, welcome to another tutorial. This is Introduction to surds SS3 first term week 4. So in this we're going to look at surd and things under surd. Now this is our learning objectives, definition of a surd, rules of surds, there are rules that guide surds, basic form of surd, similar surds, conjugate surd, simplification of surd, addition and subtraction of surds, multiplication and division of surd, rationalization of surds, equality of surds, and so on and so forth. And after this, we're going to look at some questions that do come out in WAEC or NECO or any other exam which involves surd. There's no how in WAEC or any exam that you can escape this surd, and it's a very simple concept, but I want you to what I will explain to you so that you can understand. But before we proceed, let's just look at the definition of this surd. It says surds are the square root of numbers that cannot be simplified into a whole or rational number. It cannot be accurately represented. In other words, a square is the root of the whole number that has an irrational value. So what does this concept mean? It means a surd is what is a square root. They said it's a square root. This is square root. Sorry, this is square root of what? Of any number. It can be so it can be square root of 12. When you check when you calculate this thing now, when you check the square root of 12, you get an irrational numbers. So irrational numbers are numbers that after decimal points, the numbers after them, they are different number. Like, let me show you something now. Let me show you this calculator. Sorry, shouldn't be bothering you with this, but let me just show you so that you can understand. It's another knowledge you should understand also, rational and irrational numbers. So let me open this. Sorry for this. Okay. Why this is loading up? So rational numbers, they can square root of any number. So anytime you see a square root, when you see 2 root 4, 2 roots, let me say 2 root 8, this is a what? This is a what? This is a surd. When you see 3 root what? Root 7 is a surd. When you say root 15 is a what? Is a surd. But when you say root 9 is not a surd because this thing is not a rational. Is not an irrational number. So when you simplify it, when you simplify root 9, you have 3. You get a final answer without a square root, or it does not have a decimal point and a number after it. Now this is what I mean. Like let's say as example now, I want to look for square root of, let's say square root of let me say square root of 5. I'll show you something. Let me clean this, sorry. This is 5 root. Now you can see this thing. This is what we call irrational numbers. After decimal point, the numbers that after them, they are different numbers. You can see 2, 3, 6, 0, 4. These are irrational numbers. It means when you look for the square root of 5, this is what you get. It cannot be expressed as a whole number. It means this number does not give a number without decimal points. When I check the square root of 9, then square root of 9, I will get ordinary whole number, which is 3. It means this is not a surd because square root of 9 will give a whole number that does not have a decimal point. Though there's a decimal point 0,000, and it's always like a fraction. So that is what surd is talking about. That a number that it's only number that simplify into a whole number or rational number. So rational numbers, as you know, they are we have rational numbers. We have 3 is the rational numbers. We have 9 is the rational numbers. These are rational numbers. We have even 1, 2, 4, they are rational numbers. But once a number has 3.1432, like pi is irrational. If you have like 2.1439, this is so any number that when you look for the square root of it, it will give something like this is a surd. So this is a surd, this is a surd, but this is not a what? This is not a surd, because when you look for the square root of 9, you get irrational numbers. And according to the definition of surd, is any whole number in which when you look for the square root, when is in a square root, you get an irrational numbers. So we move on to our next class, when we are going to look at what the laws of surd. Let's move on.